Okay.
thanks.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. On the meeting order here, and first off would be the roll call by the clerk.
Supervisor Reynolds.
Here.
Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti.
Here.
Supervisor Brownell.
Here.
Supervisor Barnhart.
Here.
Supervisor Borst.
Here.
Supervisor Hayes. Supervisor Ferrara.
Here.
Supervisor Cronenwetter.
Here.
Supervisor Lott.
Here.
Supervisor McGreevy.
Here.
Supervisor Heisen.
Here.
Supervisor Trout.
Here.
Supervisor Clear.
Here.
Supervisor Enslow.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please be seated. First up is a public hearing in regards to Evans Cosmetics tax property. You have to open a public hearing on that, somebody?
Make a motion that we open the public hearing for real property tax law 1182.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye to open the public hearing. Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anybody want to comment? Okay,
I make a motion we close the New York State real property public hearing for tax law 1182.
Second.
okay, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Next up, presentation, Cayuga Nation back taxes by Frank Seneca, our county treasurer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I'm here tonight to talk about the Cayuga Nation property. Properties first as the town treasurer, and second as a resident of the town of Seneca Falls. As you know, the Cayuga Nation owes $6,221,521.30 for Seneca Falls town, county, and school taxes for the town of Seneca Falls. Then for the town of Fayette, back taxes are $346,278.39 as of May 31st.
Is that Fayette, you said?
Excuse me? Or not Fayette,
Varick.
Varick,
We'll
sorry.
take it though, that's fine.
Okay, Varick, sorry. Varick,
I didn't mean to interrupt
I
you.
got Varick written there.
All yours.
Varick, yeah.
So I didn't say anything,
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, bring it over.
Now, on all these back taxes, you gotta remember that the county makes everybody whole, like the towns, villages, and school districts. So that's, those are numbers back from 2008 and 2009. So this is a lot of money which the county has to collect. So obviously, the county collects all back taxes, but we really don't collect much from the Cayuga Nation. The county is not allowed to foreclose on the Cayuga Nation-owned properties, which is, in essence, make paying taxes voluntary for the Cayuga Nation. So far, the Cayuga Nation does not pay, only pays taxes on 3 parcels on the west side of Route 89 at the corner of Garden Street and 89. The board has had many discussions about non-payment of taxes for as long as I can remember. I am not asking the board to resolve the tax issue tonight. What I am asking you is to consider the negative impact. Now, this is me as the citizen of Seneca Falls, of the current state of the 2 parcels on the east side of Route 89 on the neighborhood and the town of Seneca Falls. As a resident of Lower Lake Road in the town of Seneca Falls, I am concerned with the state of the 2 parcels at the intersection of Garden Street and 89. A neighborhood is an area where people live and interact with one another. Neighborhoods have their own identity or feel based on the people who live there and the places nearby. Qualities that make a great neighborhood are lots of trees. You can move around without a car. It is safe. It offers a variety of housing types, and it looks appealing. I live in a neighborhood of Bridgeport in the town of Seneca Falls. The Bridgeport neighborhood covers an area of at least a mile circle from the state park. The residents of our neighborhood include full-time and seasonal residents. The Bridgeport Fire District was one of the largest fire districts until we consolidated with the town of Seneca Falls. The 7th District 11 election polling place is located on the Lower Lake Road. We also have the Chiropractic College and Cayuga Lake State Park. I live 3/4 of a mile from the four corners of Garden Street where Route 89 at the intersection is partially torn down building, which was once the canning facility for the Cayuga Nation. 7/8 of a mile from the partially torn down ice cream stand and miniature golf area also owned by the Cayuga Nation. Buildings in their conditions are home for feral cats, rats, skunks, raccoons, possums, and other wild animals not wanted in an R1 neighborhood. These two properties are an eyesore in my neighborhood. These buildings are the first thing thousands of visitors coming to camp at Cayuga Lake State Park, going to wineries, visiting the college campus, or looking for a home what they see on Route 89. The Cayuga Nation does owe many thousands of dollars in back taxes on these two properties, and as such, cannot get a permit to remove these two eyesores from our neighborhood. My neighborhood and my neighbors and I, along with the tourists, have to look at these piles of debris every day. This would not be tolerated in any other area. So what can the board do? Well, you can amend the local law governing the issuing of demolition permit for the two properties in question and allow the removal of these eyesores and breeding grounds for wild animals. I would not support amending the local law unless the Cayuga Nation is willing to remove the mess located on their property. If they are willing to clean up the mess, grant them some sort of amnesty form for a local law that would showcase the beauty of Route 89 corridor, eliminate nesting areas for wild and feral animals, and make my neighborhood a much nicer place to live. Certainly there will be board members saying this is a matter of principle, that the Cayuga Nation must be treated the same as everyone else, but pick up this mess and place it in your neighborhood where you live. I am confident that you would be here to address the board in the same issues because no one wants broken down buildings in their backyards. I am here to advocate for the same resolution. What we are accomplishing by not doing something or taking action to clean up this area, you certainly are not punishing the Cayuga Nation. You are punishing those taxpayers in my neighborhood. The Cayuga Nation is not going to pay taxes on these two parcels until the Supreme Court of the United States does something. Well, they did do something today. We know that they're not going to.
Wait, just leave that part out for now.
Okay, leave that part out. It has already been 41 years and there's been no settlement in sight, so I hope you on this board will consider the necessary temporary changes to the local law to resolve this stalemate, because without action from you, nothing will be done, and these piles of half-demolished hazardous buildings will be what the people see when they drive through our neighborhood. Thank you very much. Now, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't have questions, but I'd like to make a statement, Frank. So anybody can, I understand your feelings, but we can't just make an amendment for just the Cayuga Indian Nation. If that's what we're gonna do and this board decides to do away with that, it has to be for everybody. It can't just be for the people down where you live on 89.
The only thing I can say, Cindy, is the Cayuga Nation is not treated like anybody else by the United States government. They have their own rules. They have their own whatever for their own community, the Cayuga Nation. So they are something special and something different. I don't see as it's setting a precedent for,
Why though? Why are they special? Why are they different than anybody
I don't know.
else?
The government.
My only vote would be is if we did this for everyone and we allowed permits for anybody to pick up their demo that didn't pay their taxes.
Right. I don't consider them special for me personally. The government considers them special, the federal government.
But this county doesn't have to. This county, if we lift this, it would be for everybody in the county, not just anybody on that owns.
Well, you know what? You bring up a good point. I was going to talk about this because, there are people in the community that call me all the time to say, gee, I'd like to do something to my property, but I can't get a building permit. My roof is leaking. I can't get a permit. I'm behind in my taxes.
Yeah.
So my property is diminishing all the time. So I was thinking that if the county had some kind of committee that could talk to these people and say, if you are behind in your taxes, but if you want to do something positive to your property, either to fix the roof, the windows, to make it more livable, or they rent properties and say, hey, we're gonna, you know, we can be able to raise the rent, we might be able to pay our taxes, whatever, somebody to review it on a case-by-case basis, we may be farther ahead. Because this local law is a negative impact on this community because people's places are getting more and more run down because they can't get a permit to fix them up. That is ridiculous. Why do you want to live with a leaky roof? Because for some reason you didn't pay your taxes for whatever hardship you had, whatever it is. We're punishing people, but that's okay. I guess that's what we're in the business for. Yeah.
Well, I've brought it up 3 different times, Frank. I agree with you 100%. I live closer to it than you do.
Right.
And all my neighbors, you know, are saying the same thing. That's Route 89 is classified as a scenic byway. And you're right next to a park that's full every day during the summer.
You guys all agreed to the local law though when we had it until the buildings got demolished. Nobody complained about it.
You know, let the fire department have a practice session there.
You're complaining to the wrong people.
Yeah.
We're here to enforce the law, and the law is written says no building permit until they clean the damn mess up.
I know.
Go to the Indians and complain, Frank. They're the ones that aren't paying the taxes. And nobody else. You went around to all the people that have bed and breakfasts in the county, and you screwed them over to get money out of them, so we have a few dollars here for tourism. But yet you can't go to the Indians and say, we want you to pay your taxes. $6.5 million are owed. That's nuts.
It's in the Constitution we're supposed to take care of the
I will never agree
Indians.
to clean that place up until they pay their taxes. And I'm not going to be on the board much longer, so the next one.
Me either, Ralph. I'm with you, Ralph, but we're not here much longer, but.
It's wrong. It's just wrong. Everybody that lives in this county should pay their taxes.
I agree 100%. We
But yet
collect.
you're here to us, not to them. Go to them.
Well, maybe
Federal government's on
some of
their
this,
side.
what I said, will get publicized in the paper and they'll maybe come forward and pay. They don't want to pay. It's voluntary. If taxes were voluntary for you, would you be paying them?
Well, of course not.
There's the answer.
Why not? Why should I pay them when Joe Blow doesn't have to pay his?
The
You know how much taxes I pay in this county every year?
I'm sure you pay
A lot of money. And when I see $6.5 million because somebody doesn't believe in it, it just burns me up.
Me too,
Burns
but
me
there's
up.
nothing I can do with it. I got to live with it.
Do away with the whole local law
I'm very
then.
passionate about this thing, and my parents did. Since we came here in 1980, we have been fighting those Indians, and we just cannot for the life of me win a battle. And I am tired of it, but I will never, mark my words, never agree to let them clean that mess up.
Okay.
Don't pay.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'm here because I've got neighbors that don't like it. They're going to be doing a reval in Seneca Falls. You know, how is that going to affect it and stuff? But those buildings are a hazard, and somebody needs to clean them up. Yes, there is a law, and I'm going to tell you the law. There was a lawsuit a month and a half ago. The town of Irondequoit took the county of Monroe to court. Irondequoit picked up some buildings, some, debris like this. So what they did is they charged it to the county of Monroe. So Monroe took them to court. You know what? Irondequoit won. So if Mike right here, Ferrara, says, we're going to clean that up, we're sending the bulldozers in and pick it up, he can charge the county for doing it. And the lawsuit went through.
So that would be bad business to us as county supervisors to even approve something like that, because that's taking more county taxpayer money and throwing it down that rat hole.
So it'd be better if the Indians cleaned it up.
Frank, I want to know.
So why?
What if listen, we're not going to debate this for very long. What if I find out how much it costs to clean it up, okay? Yeah. Then I come back to the neighbors and see if they want to chip in. Then I'll go meet with Ray Halbrader, yeah. And if the county gives me permission to clean it up, we'll have somebody pay for it. Maybe Ray will pay for it.
Ray Halbrader?
Maybe
The big joke is this, guy.
Oh, Ray, yeah, you're Ray.
Here's the big joke.
Clint Halftown. Ray will pay for it too.
I want to know, they didn't get a permit when they tore the buildings down. They did it.
We fined them for that.
Okay, you find them. So if they really cared and they were good neighbors, why don't they go clean it up without a permit? And then you can fine them for that, because they don't care. They don't care that that's there.
Okay,
They paid the permit, probably, I think, they paid their back taxes probably a week before they tore everything down.
No, they always have been, those 3 properties, they've always been up to date on their taxes.
Yeah.
Because those are the 3 properties they've always wanted to put in
They
land and
didn't
trust.
get a permit. They went in the middle of the night and tore down.
They
Okay,
didn't
they
ha-
got the permit after the fact.
I know, and they got
Okay,
fined for doing
Go
it.
pick the shit up then and get the permit after the fact if they really cared. They don't care that that's there. They could care less.
Let's send this to government ops.
Go
Committee.
for it.
we spend more time on Seneca Falls stuff now than we do on water and sewer.
But send it to government
Well,
ops.
that's a little
Public Works.
exaggeration. You're the one that lets the petitioners come to the podium.
Yeah, you gave Frank more than 3 minutes.
Presenter.
Well, I had my say.
You did.
Thanks for being here, Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
Good job, Frank.
Okay, we don't have any petitioners tonight, right? Okay, we have Allison Stokes here for open privilege of the floor. Hi.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Allison, can you put the microphone down? Frank forgot to do that, so nobody heard him anyway.
You didn't need it.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Allison Stokes. I live in an apartment in Rochester, but my home is in Seneca Falls, and I vote in Seneca County. Once the Seneca Meadows landfill closes at the end of 2025, my intention is to move back into my home. Tonight, I address the Board of Supervisors at its first regular monthly meeting since the death of environmental activist Marianne Kowalski on Thursday, May 13th. Her obituary was in the Finger Lakes Times 6 days later on Wednesday, May 9th. That day, page 1 had a banner headline, which I'm sure most of you saw. Activists remembered as formidable, brilliant, along with a headshot photo of Marianne. Dave Shaw's accompanying article was lengthy with a list of her many positions and achievements. I included in this article were many tributes to her. At the end of May, on Memorial Day weekend, there was another notice in the obituary section of the Finger Lakes Times, and because this was the newspaper's weekend edition, it was on the stands for 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, giving many people an opportunity to learn about this remarkable woman. And again, many of you probably saw this, but she was remembered in these several different ways. A memorial service is set for August 18th in Romulus, and this would have been Marianne Kowalski's 75th birthday. I did not know Marianne personally, but read her name many times in the news. And the first time I saw her in person was in this room. I was sitting on that side when we were facing this way, and she stood on this other side of the room where I'm sitting now. And when she stood up to say something, I thought to myself, oh, that's Marianne Kowalski. We had occasionally emailed one another over several years, sharing information. This year, I sent her a message on April 11th, congratulating her for applying to fill the vacancy on the IDA board. She knew how much I admired her. This past Sunday afternoon, I attended the rally at the DEC regional office in Avon. This was the rally that a busload of people from our area went to. Councilman Steve Churchill from Seneca Falls and Councilman Ken Camera of Geneva were featured speakers. One speaker cited Marianne Kowalski's work in specific environmental actions and achievements. She was remembered for her advocacy for clean water, clean air, and a healthy environment. And she was currently then a leader in the Committee for the Preservation of the Finger Lakes, a coalition of concerned citizens from several different counties joining forces. What I believe is one of Marianne Kowalski's most important legacies is her insistence on transparency and accountability and good governance. She opposed deception. She challenged power and wealth, especially those forces that would degrade the clean air and water that is the lifeblood of the Finger Lakes. Marianne inspired the efforts of activists to identify and expose deceptive enterprises that would degrade the region and home we hold so dear. I can't help wondering if the demands and stress of very high stakes conflict and battles may have contributed to her passing. I believe we owe her a lot. At the June meeting of the Seneca Falls Board last night, I thought of Marianne as for the first time our 5-member council came to the consensus that we need to work on a 4-year plan to implement a stated purpose, to be financially independent of the landfill by the end of December 2025. It's a big challenge, but the board is ready to take it on. Praise be. In my mind, Marianne Kowalski will always be a hero in helping to lead the way to protect and preserve the Finger Lakes and the quality of our common home. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Allison? Okay, very good, thank you. Next up, approval of meeting minutes, May 12th and May 25th.
So moved.
A motion?
Second?
Second? Okay, any discussion? Any corrections? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Good. I'll do that now. Okay, we're going to go into executive session now on a pending matter we have to have a telephone conversation with, so would you hand this out to somebody?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Section 105(1)D of the New York State Open Meetings Law and invite all members of the Board of Supervisors, except for all members of the Board of Supervisors, the county attorney, and the county manager to attend. Could I have a second for that, please?
A second, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Are we moving over to the Heroes Room?
I'm gonna say that
So
next.
people can stay here, we're moving,
We're
right?
moving over to the Heroes Room.
Right.
All set. You called, Bob?
Yep.
So the camera's rolling now?
Yes.
Okay, we're back in session. Okay, next up, reports to standing committee. Supervisor McGreevy, Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Human Services Committee met on May 25th. At the Human Services Committee meeting, we approved contracting with outside agencies to assist in the administration of services using grant award funding. We received $25,000 in temporary assistance for needing families and will contract with the Cayuga Seneca CAP for the administration of non-residential domestic violence services. We also received $120,000 from the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance and will contract with FLACRA, Finger Lakes Area Counseling and Recovery Agency, to provide outreach to eligible households and assist them in applying for rental arrears payments. We also received $167,000 from the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, and we will authorize the chairman of the board to execute the necessary contracts for the period July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and the administrative agreements for July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 with the Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board. Also, Jim Sinacropi from FingerLakes1.com was appointed to the Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board for a 3-year term effective July 1st of this year. And lastly, Office for the Aging received additional funding in the amount of $6,050 to help increase vaccination among older adults and their caregivers. That's all I have, sir.
That's enough. Very good. Thank you. Next up, Supervisor Barnhart, Planning, Development, Agriculture, and Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee referred a resolution for tonight declaring Seneca County the lead agency under seeker for the adoption of the Cayuga Seneca Canalway Trail Phase 2 plan and to schedule a public hearing regarding seeker determination for July 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. We also have a request for a congressionally directed spending item at the special meeting May 25th. The board adopted a resolution requesting from Senator Schumer's office a congressionally directed spending item for $500,000 to support elimination and removal of blighted structures within the county for fiscal year 2022. That's all we got.
Very good. Thank you. Supervisor Farrar, Personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personnel Committee met, and we have vacancies which are filled by the committee and will not need a resolution tonight. It's a full-time caseworker, full-time psychiatric social worker, a full-time program director, clinical services, a full-time typist, a full-time sheriff's deputy position in the sheriff's office, a full-time planner for planning and community development, a full-time assistant district attorney, and a full-time payroll system technician in personnel. We have resolutions tonight to create positions in Department of Human Services. They're on the agenda tonight for a full-time deputy commissioner, a full-time senior caseworker, and a full-time clerk. And we also have a resolution on tonight's agenda, create a position in an E91 center, one full-time dispatcher in an E91. That's it.
Thank you. Next up, Supervisor Hayes is out, so Mr. Borst, can you handle that?
Sure. Just give me 1 second.
We got an update from Mitch on a few issues, right?
Probably got the sheet on his desk.
Let me.
Maybe.
Cheat sheet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the Water and Sewer Treatment and Management Operations met May 25th. We talked about Hillside. Tanks are in the ground. It started late last week, which was back in May. Hit an obstacle trying to get the tank in the ground. They expect first light will be completed by the end of May. Martin will no longer be a user of Sewer 2. They wanted first light and Martin off, and then they can start decommissioning, which I believe is moving forward. Scott King talked about one tank will be put in service, septic system dedicated to 6 buildings. Each building will have its own tank. We will do the tank inspections. Scott King reviewed the plans. They are commercial but standard, and he was able to inspect them himself. Tom Scholes reviews the residential. We contract with CNS engineers when we need them. Regarding docks, a letter went out, discussion with lead engineers in Albany. been started. Financial asks were considerable, haven't been rejected yet. B&L and Hunt grant request. Hopefully everything will line up and move forward. Lastly, the EDU evaluation. County manager will come back to the June committee to follow up.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Thank you, Supervisor Forrest. Next up, Supervisor Burnell, Public Safety.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Office of the Emergency Management will be applying for a grant money offered by New York State Homeland Security for reimbursement or interoperable communications upgrades and maintenance. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next up, Supervisor Garlick-Lorenzetti, Government Operations.
Thank you, Chairman. We have two issues tonight, a multi-state project honoring Robert S. Duncanson and social media policy for Seneca County. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next up, Supervisor Cronewetter, Environmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On May 25th, we had a presentation from the Seneca Watershed Municipal Organization with Mark Benuti, chairman, and Ian Smith as a steward. They gave us an update on all the activities they are up to. And we also passed a memorandum of understanding with them the same night. I also introduced local law E, the local law authorizing youth aged 12 and 13 years to hunt deer with a firearm or crossbow during hunting season with the supervision of an adult licensed hunter, and that resolution will be up later. That's all I have.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next up, Supervisor Trout, Public Works.
Thank you, Chairman. Outside of the resolutions to follow on tonight's agenda, there was a discussion. Seneca County has been approached by a local internet provider, CBN, expressing interest in leasing space on the hillside and Three Bars Tower. Air access is currently on the tower. Signal reaches Yates County, and the county manager will be bringing more details in the June committee meeting. On one of the resolutions tonight, I'll be asking for an amendment to switch from a 20-year contract to a 5-year contract, considering the fact that we cannot make any contract longer than 5 years as a municipality. That's all I have.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Supervisor Reynolds, Finance, Assessment, and Insurance.
Thank you, Chairman Heisen. Finance, assessment, and insurance met, and we got two things. Mortgage tax, we'll approve that tonight, I hope. And the other thing was Haley touched and Mitch talked about the American Recovery Plan implementation. We're going to receive, we did receive $3.3 million. The county manager is seeking a special committee to oversee the funding. Board chair will appoint members. Several supervisors have volunteered. Reporting requirements due July for quarterly reports. County manager believes this funding can be used to make up for lost sales tax due to COVID. Maybe we can use, some of it could be put towards water and sewer, but it cannot be used for put into reserves. That's all I got.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, reports to special committees. Anybody got to report on cooperative extension, soil and water, or the IDA, I guess?
IDA.
Okay.
First up, notable mention, Menzo Case has resigned after 3 years of service, so there will be another vacancy on the board. There's 2 parcels in the Deer Run Park. So the industrial park is pretty much filling up with people and businesses, which is what we wanted. And the name of that business is Best Made Products. They'll be purchasing 2 parcels. There's a discussion right now to go out for RFPs for engineering services for looking into making a new industrial park on 318. So that'll be interesting in here in the next couple months to see what we might come up with, what the plans might be. And I also relayed we want to have our joint meeting with the IDA and this board and get some things figured out with the IDA line. So I'm sure there's more to add to that. Mitch, I don't know if you have anything.
I had a brief conversation with Sarah about that, so perhaps we can work on getting that scheduled during the next cycle here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Okay. Chairman remarks. I'd like to start off by saying I think probably almost half of us attended the Memorial Day service out at Sampson. It was a very nice service. People were upbeat and they're excited about getting the cemetery taken over by the state of New York. So I'd like to thank you all for being there. It was a nice day too. And that's my comment.
Okay, just a little follow-up regarding the cemetery. Discussions and interaction with the state have been active and ongoing since the announcement. There is, for your consideration tonight under Rule 29, a resolution that the state has requested whereby the Board of Supervisors would commit to the conveyance of the 162 acres back to the state. So that is on under new business tonight. And things are really progressing well in our work with the state, and still not exactly clear on a date of conveyance, but Dave has connected with Mr. Fishbein. For those of you that were there, he's the attorney counsel to the State Veterans Office, so we'll be working on that. We have a copy of the deed that was conveyed to us, and we'll keep you all informed. The other thing real quick is, since committees 2 weeks ago, First Light has completed their tank work and they are off the hillside plant, so we will be moving as early as later this week to start actually cutting the flow pipes in and out of the plant, and I'll probably have more to report at committees in 2 weeks for you. So that's it.
Okay, very good, thank you. County Attorney's remarks.
I have nothing to add in.
Okay, thank you. Communications.
Communications number 56 through 63 have been received your file.
Okay, next up, resolutions. And that will be number 15, Finance Assessment Insurance Supervisor Rentals.
Finance Department authorized to pay mortgage tax.
A second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Next up, Supervisor Trout, Public Works, number 16.
Supervisors authorized supplemental agreement and adjustment to the estimated expenditure for snow and ice 2020-2021.
Support. A second, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 17.
Board of Supervisors authorized 2021 budget adjustment for increase in CHIPS funding for Seneca County Highway.
Support.
Second on that, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 18.
Authorized lease agreement with the Friends of the Three Bears, Inc.
Support.
Like to offer an amendment.
Okay.
I move to amend the resolution by replacing the 20-year lease period with 5 years in accordance with New York State County law.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion on that?
Second.
I thought you seconded. Okay, don't worry. Anyway, okay, we got to vote on the amendment now. All,
Fill a position, why don't they tell how much it's gonna cost?
everything okay?
Yeah, I think the people must be got.
Okay, we're going to do the amendment now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now, the resolution as amended. You all ready? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, thank you, Supervisor Trout. Next up is Supervisor Cronewetter, Environmental Affairs, number 19.
A resolution introducing proposed local law E of 2021, a local law authorizing youth ages 12 and 13 years of age to hunt deer with a firearm or crossbow during hunting season with the supervision of an adult licensed hunter, and providing for a public hearing hereto. And I would just like to refer to page 1, that emails representing area sportsmen's club expressing support for legislation authorizing youth age 12 and 13 years of age to hunt deer with a firearm or crossbow during hunting season with the supervision of adult licensed hunter from the following parties: Lodi Rod and Gun Club, Fred Ferriera, President, Seneca County Federation of Sportsmen's Clubs, Greg Wadhams, President, and Eric Rigo, representing Cooningtown Sportsman's Club, Seneca Falls Ducks Unlimited Chapter, and he is a Varick Town Board member and a county delegate for New York State Conservation Council.
Support.
Support.
Okay, we got seconds all over the place. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are no nays. Carried. Very good, thank you.
Great.
Government Operations, Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti, number 20.
Thank you. Chairman, Board of Supervisors adopt Seneca County Policy 101-410, social media.
Support.
Second there. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Supervisor Burnell, up now.
Board of Supervisors approves applying for the FY 2021 State Interloop Communication Grant.
Support.
Second there, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next up, Supervisor Farrar, Personnel, number 22.
Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of 1 full-time deputy commissioner, 1 full-time senior caseworker, and 1 full-time clerk for the Department of Human Services.
Support. Second on that, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 23.
Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of 1 full-time dispatcher to the E911 Center.
Support. Second there, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Supervisor Ferrara. Next up, Plan Development, Agriculture, Tourism, number 24, Supervisor Barnhart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Seneca County Board of Supervisors declares itself lead agency for secret review of Cayuga Seneca Canalway Trail Phase 2 plan and schedules public hearing.
Support.
Okay, second there. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next up, Human Services, number 25, Supervisor McGreevy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Increase Office for the Aging 2021 budget to reflect additional funding for COVID-19 crisis.
Support.
Second there, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 26.
Seneca County Division of Human Services to enter into an agreement with Cayuga Seneca Community Action Agency, CAP, for TANF, Non-Residential Domestic Violence Services Plan and Funding.
Support.
Second there. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 27.
Number 27, Seneca County Division of Human Services enter into an agreement with Finger Lakes Area Counseling and Recovery Agency, FLACRA, for Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP, Outreach Plan and Funding.
Support.
Second there, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 28.
Seneca County Board of Supervisors approves Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act contracts for the period July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022, and administrative agreements July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022 with the Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board.
Support.
Support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 29.
Number 29, Board of Supervisors approves appointment of Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board member.
Support. Support there. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 30.
Number 30, Seneca County Board of Supervisors approves the 2021 Seneca County Child and Family Services Annual Plan Update for the Seneca County Department of Social Services and Family Youth.
Support. Second on that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Unfinished business. Got any unfinished business? Okay. New business. We have what? 3 resolutions and then we got a 4th one now?
And then a 5th, I think. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Outside forces.
We got them all lined up here for us?
The bed tax one.
Okay.
So 3 are on the agenda and 2 got handed out.
Okay, so we're gonna start with number 32A.
Can we make a motion just to do Rule 29 right now for all 5 and then just read the motions, or do we have to legitimately do the Rule 29 every time?
Do it.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to.
You control the motion on the Rule 29, so if that's what you'd like to do, that's.
Yeah, I'd like to just make the Rule 29 motion to be good for all 5 resolutions that are before the board tonight.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any discussion, objections? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we got that out of the way. Now we're gonna start with number 32A. Whose committee is this under?
That's my committee.
Okay.
So Board of Supervisors award bid for transportation services for the early intervention and preschool programs.
Support.
And
second, Sarah.
Vicki can talk a little bit about that.
The provider that was doing our transportation has been done transportation for, oh gosh, probably about last 12 years or so, is not going to be renewing their contract. They were notified in April, so we went out to RFP. We received 1 bid for the contract, which, do you have the breakdowns? I don't know if they were.
No, we didn't get them.
Yeah, okay.
I have them, but.
Okay, well, anyway, this provider, obviously, the prices went up. The previous contract we had was a 3-year contract, and then the county renewed for 1 additional year. So it's a 5-year contract with no rate increases. So this contract, they provided us with 3 different options. One is what I call the traditional, is the way we have done it for years. A cost per child per route, and the routes are set up where they went, like from Seneca Falls to Geneva or to Happiness House or Racker Center. We added up what the cost would be based on what we are currently paying, based on what the new rate would be, and the increase, just the increase, doing it that traditional route was a $441,000 increase for the year in the cost of transportation. The second option is what I'm going to recommend that we take, and what we're doing is we're paying for the bus and then $5 for each additional child on the bus. So if we have a bus that has 1 child on it, we're paying $475 for the bus and the child. If we have the bus and there's 3 children on the bus, we're paying $480. Add that all up for the routes that we have and the kids that we currently have, the increase for the year would be $160,000 as opposed to $441,000 for the first option. The second option is a little more complicated because we pay for the bus and then we pay for the number of trips, whether they're a half day or a full day, because we have children that go to programs for a half day. We have children that go for full day. So that was a little more complicated to figure out, but that, if we went with that route, the proposed increase would be $429,000. So obviously, the second option is the best, as we can see, because the rate increase is not as much. The option for that, too, is we're paying for the bus, and then for each child on the bus, and currently they can only put 5 children on the bus. As our COVID restrictions are more relaxed, we will probably be able to put more children on the bus again like we used to, so those costs will also be going down. We are not tied into this. They are, if we decide a year into this that something happens, our numbers all go wonky or whatever, and the option 1 actually works out better for the second year, we can change. But for right now, I recommend that we go to option what they call number 1, which is the second option, with the projected increase of $160,000 for the year.
Cayuga Nation has a couple of new buses they have out there. Maybe they'll let us use them, and Mitch can drive the bus or something.
They probably
Mitch has got enough to do.
and cameras on them.
Can we use Uber?
Okay. You made the motion, right?
Yep, and we got a
You get a
second.
second on that?
Yep, we
You
did.
did, okay. Any more discussion? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
And in the resolution, it was the second one, right?
I haven't, well, yes, it was, I'm sorry, yes.
Make sure.
I got a question. Yeah. Now, that was $429,000 increase. Is that on top of the $500,000 that we normally pay them?
Yeah.
So what's the total, Brett?
Our total, with the old rate, our total cost, $832,000. With the new rate, with this second option, it would go to $993,000. That's for the year. That includes early intervention and 3 to 5, mostly 3 to 5 kids. But yeah, we're paying
That's for
almost $1
5
million.
kids, right?
Well, no, we have more kids than that. Number of, I'll give you the thing so you know. So the number of students on the bus, we have, like the first route, we have 22 students that ride the bus. But there are some routes where we have 1 child on the bus, and it costs us $46,000 a year.
And only 1 RFP.
It's got to be a better way.
And I will tell you, the last 2 times, I believe, we've only gotten 1 RFP.
What is the, what's the issue? Is there so many regulations they have to follow or something, or?
I think part of it's because we're so rural, you know, and they don't like to get 1 child on a bus. I know that we're not the only county. I know the previous provider that we've had been doing currently left Yates County, and they were doing some of Wayne County. Some of the larger counties are lucky enough that their school districts will transport because it's within the county, whereas most of our places are out of county. Ontario County, Rackhurst Center in Ithaca, or Roosevelt Center in Wayne County. So
Can we buy a bus?
You gotta start a business, Ralph.
It's a lot of buses.
It's a lot. There are a lot of restrictions on the drivers and et cetera, and it would be expensive, but.
That's not the issue. The issue is always employees.
And I will tell you that bus companies are having trouble. And again, we do require an aide on every bus. Not all counties do. I advocate for that. I think that, especially with the younger children, we should definitely have an aide on the bus. And then, of course, this board a few years ago opted to have a camera on every bus, which I think is a safety issue too. I mean, all school buses have cameras on the buses now too. So I think we should go with that.
I gotta bring this proposal to the Shark Tank. I can't believe it can't pass.
I will tell you that there is an option. We do pay parents to transport their children. That is an option, and we do offer that to parents and actually encourage that. I don't think sometimes it's not a follow-through in some of the CPSE meetings, but we're supposed to be the transporter of last resort. So we do reimburse parents. There's a form they fill out, how much for mileage that we pay them, and that gets paid out of the grant or the monies also. So we do have several families, but for the most part.
Vicki, just a quick question. We were transporting elderly people, and we had a veteran service in the county that we were transporting people around with. Is there any way that we vetted those people where they could transport maybe this 1 kid that's costing 46 grand? Is there any way?
They have to follow all the state education rules and regs and all that. And we had put a bid out, and I had talked to STS when they first started coming into the county about doing that as a service, and we did send them a bid package too. But they can't do all the car seats and stuff that they need, and then the handicap transport and everything. So we sent out a lot of bid packages this time because I contacted other counties to see who they've gotten bids from. And this is the only one we received. And they came in at the 12th hour. It was like due in by 2. It was like 2 minutes to 2 when Amanda called me and said that they came in with it. I was sweating bullets.
I don't know if it's worthwhile. I mean, down the road that you got 4 school districts in Seneca County that some type of a meeting that maybe could, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? They got the buses already, B, they got the trained staff. You know, this kind of money and I'm not being critical of the money, I'm just saying it's a necessary service, but you would think 4 school districts would be able to somehow kind of coordinate that, and maybe at a less expense for.
They didn't even coordinate it for their BOCES students, you know, but South Seneca School District does transport their 4-year-olds. They don't transport the 3-year-olds, but they do transport the 4-year-olds. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Vicki, do we get any state reimbursement for this?
We do. For the cost for the early intervention program, we get 50% reimbursed. For the 3 to 5 program, which is the bulk of the transportation, we get 59.5% back.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vicki.
Can I just make one announcement real quick?
Yes, I was going to say, I didn't get you to come up here and tell what's going on.
That's all right, I didn't miss that. Just want to let you know that we are partnering with Del Lago to offer a vaccine clinic this Saturday from 11 to 1. It is on our website. It's being advertised. It's going to be in the paper. But Del Lago is going to be offering $20 in free play or a free meal at the Market Cafe for anybody who gets an immunization. So we're going to partner with them this Saturday. So it's out there. It's open for anybody 18 and over because it is the Moderna vaccine. So if you know anybody who hasn't been vaccinated, maybe that'll be an incentive for them to get vaccinated.
Can you get re-vaccinated if you have?
No, I'm afraid it doesn't work that
Booster
way.
shots aren't available yet.
Yeah. And we are also working, you probably saw in the paper that Romulus, the governor pulled out Romulus as having a very, very low vaccination rate. I will say that's probably because of the prison population, as well as, you know, some of our religious exemption people that don't want to get the vaccine. So we are working on doing a clinic at Sampson State Park also. I'm going to try and get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. We're going to try and coincide it with one night when they're having a concert there, and maybe we can get more people, whether they'll be Seneca County residents or not. Who knows, but at this point, shot in arm is what counts, so we are working on that.
As a follow-up, are they not vaccinating prisoners, or are they not giving us the numbers for the prisoners?
They are not, well, they are vaccinating prisoners from what I understand, but it's a choice. They don't have to be vaccinated. Yeah, I know my son works over in Auburn prison, and very low vaccination rates over there too.
Is Del Lago waiving the, you have to be 21 to get in for the clinic, or?
No, because when you come to the clinic, you're coming in through the ballroom, you're not out on the near the floor.
Okay,
So-
so 18-year-olds can go.
18, anybody can, well, if we had, even if we had the vaccine, the Pfizer, they could come and get the shot, like 12-year-olds could come and get the shot, because we have a separate entrance into the ballroom and they leave, they're nowhere near the
Okay.
floor. It's
Thank you.
the hotel entrance. Getting fully vaccinated. I will say the Del Lago has also offered to sponsor a clinic elsewhere in the county. They're not just limited it to Del Lago itself, but we were doing the first one there because they are incentivizing their employees, I believe, with something too, I don't know what. So, so we'll be working with them to maybe get another one off-site. Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Very good, thank you, Vicki. Okay, next up is 32B. I think this might be
Personnel, maybe?
personnel, maybe.
Board of Supervisors approved the signing of a memorandum of agreements with unions.
Support.
Second there, okay. Chris, you gonna explain this?
Yes, sir. So Juneteenth originated in Texas to celebrate the emancipation of those that were enslaved within the United States. As of last October in 2020, the New York State actually designated this as a public holiday under the General Construction Law, subsection 24. So that requires all public entities within New York State to close to the public. The addition and/or deletion of any holiday within the county specifically is a mandatory subject of bargaining. We had a brief executive session where I kind of laid this out and tried to get a game plan together. We had one union approach us prior to that executive session that they negotiated it basically to where to add Juneteenth. I basically said, listen, at this point, we're not just willing to add a holiday just because we have to shut down. They said, okay, well, we would be willing to convert the floater, but we would want Christmas Eve, which essentially makes sense because generally speaking, Christmas Eve is essentially a non-productive work day as it is. So that's why we were petitioning that. After that, went to the other two remaining unions and pitched the same thing because, quite frankly, it should be across the board saying that all of our holidays are listed in all three unions, which just makes sense. So that way we're not having any payroll issues. I've heard back from two unions. Those two have signed a memorandum of agreement, as well as their labor relations specialist have reviewed it and signed off on it. Our outside counsel has reviewed it and is in agreement. The only stipulation that came up after we previously discussed it was, well, this year Christmas Day falls on a Saturday, and per our contracts, Christmas Eve would already be observed. I said that makes sense. The whole premise of changing your floater holiday is so that you are still gaining a holiday day off. So the proposal on here is that if Christmas Day falls on a Saturday, then we observe Christmas Eve on Thursday, Christmas Day on Friday. If Christmas Day falls on a Monday, then we would observe Christmas Eve on Monday and Christmas Day on Tuesday. That being said, the proposal is in front. It would change the actual policy to reflect Juneteenth added on there as well as Christmas Day, and it does delete the floating holiday.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next up, who takes care of this? Don Trout?
I'll take care of it.
42C, I think it might be you.
Board of Supervisors authorizes transfer of land to New York State for the benefit of veterans and their families.
Support. Second on that. I told Mitch it's kind of sad, you know, poor Mitch that I'm running this Sampson Cemetery from day one, and now he's like giving up his firstborn child to somebody else, and but he's going along with it though. Yeah. He's done a great job. So, okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we got two more now.
Ms. Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti, do you want to take the home rule request as 32D?
Certainly. Resolution approving the home rule request for passage of Senate Bill number S5711 and Assembly Bill number A7967, introducing New York State legislation to amend New York Tax Law 12020, hotel or motel taxes in Seneca County.
Support.
You get a second on that. This has to be what, sent down there by tomorrow, Mitch?
And delivered.
And delivered with the original copy, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I think we'll have a volunteer to go do that, I
Yes.
guess. Okay,
He's stopping at the other casino to check it out, so.
yeah. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Last but not least, it's probably under, I don't know, this,
Ag and
under Kyle,
Environmental Affairs.
Environment.
this environment?
I think it should be anybody who can read the word
I will read it. And I will abbreviate the word.
Farm Bureau, really.
I will read it.
I won't move it.
I
won't move
You won't move it?
I won't move it.
Uh-oh. Okay,
I'll do it.
okay.
Board of Supervisors urge New York State Legislature to oppose Bills S699-B and A7429. And I'm going to read part of it, and then I'll stop unless anybody just wants me to describe what this is about. Whereas the New York State Legislature is considering legislation that ban neonicotinoid seed treatments as well as the product's use on ornamental trees and shrubs and turf, and whereas neonicotinoid seed protectants are crucial tools for corn, soybean, and wheat farmers, of which there are many in the state. I'll stop at that point because I'm not that familiar with what it takes for the horticulture community and the golf courses, but I need a second.
Do you use this stuff, Ralph?
Yes. If somebody else second it, then
I'll second it.
I can describe.
Yeah, I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay. So for discussion, I'm going to say that as farmers, we use this on our seed. When these products first came about, and I don't know the timeline, it's probably been 10, 15 years ago, they were a bad product. They were a dust. So when you open up a bag of seed corn that had 50 pounds in it, you dump that into your planter, in the bottom of the bag, there was some of the stuff left. So it went into everywhere where it shouldn't have been. They changed the formulation. Now it is put on the seed at the plants, and it adheres to it. It doesn't make dust anymore. Because when it was a dust, when it went through a corn planter, most planters now are vacuum planters. There's air movement, there's suction there. And when that seed hit the plate and dropped to the ground, a puff of that dust went off in the air. And it was a bad thing for bees, all kinds of stuff. But that has been changed, and at least, I'm guessing at least 5 or 6 years, the product has changed. Now it is adhered to each seed, and it doesn't come loose. There is no dust from it, and it's put down when a seed goes in the ground. That stuff's right there. When the plant germinates, It is taken up by the plant. It stays within the plant. It does not get into the atmosphere. If we don't have these things, especially with no-till like we're all doing now and cover crops, the ground is alive with bugs that would just as soon eat a corn seed as any other weed seed down there. So you plant your corn and maybe a third comes up, you've got to replant. It's not profitable for farmers to do this. So with this stuff, it protects the seed. If we don't have this product, farmers are going to go back to what they did 20 years ago. They're going to buy insecticides and they're going to put them in what we call bug boxes. That's a separate box on the back of a planter. And it just dribbles this insecticide out in a stream. So instead of having it concentrated right around the seed kernel, it's going to be spread across your whole field in a 5-inch band for the length of every row. So this stuff is needed. There are some people, and I understand Kyle where he's coming from, and it's a bad product. When we're handling the seed, we wear a face mask. We don't take chances with it. But it doesn't come off as a dust like it. It's been changed. The companies have made a big effort to change this. I think it's a product that we need to keep, and I would like to see this letter get sent to the legislature.
And you have to do it quickly because they're about to get out of session.
Yes.
They're about ready to vote on this.
There's a time problem.
If I may.
Yes.
The greatest respect for Mr. Lott, for farmers in the community. My opinion here is this should have gone through committee. We should have had time to talk to experts about supporting or not supporting it. My quick research and understanding about I can't even say it. Neonics is that they are a neurotoxin and that they are particularly poisonous to bees, which are our pollinators. I would love, and I appreciate your expertise and would love to ask a million questions. You know, does it continue into the genetic material? Does it go into the plants? Are bees still getting it? Is it a reduced percentage of bees that are dying? I have too many questions for this to support it. And ultimately support organic and biodynamic farming over any sort of conventional farming. So with that, I'm not able to support this tonight.
Any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
We'll do a roll call. I didn't hear a lot of aye. What?
You got it.
You're the only one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very good. Consider it passed. Okay. We're all set then on that one.
I just want to say, Chairman, that thank you, Ralph, for explaining it, because I was on the fence myself. But I guess the thing that sold me is if you weren't able to use this, which is already around the seed and put into the ground, then you would do something that would contaminate even further by putting it through a string, correct?
Yes. And I just answer Kyle's problem too, just so everybody hears it. We have a person that keeps bees out here on 5 and 20, way back by the canal, and we have had the bees there for 20 years. We talked to the guy there. He says he's never lost a hive. They do well, and they're right. I mean, they're within 10 feet of our fields. We have another person that keeps hives down on the Heitman farm by the depot. He has bees there. There's probably at least 50, 60 hives in that woods, which is maybe 100 feet from our actual fields. He has never lost a hive. We have contacted those people. They have no problem with these.
Good.
So
that's great.
And DEC approved too.
Yes.
Which was something I took exception to was the DEC doesn't exactly always rule in our favor.
Yeah, I know.
So overruling them I thought was good. You know, my background is in hospitality, but my last job was on a farm, a vineyard, and we farmed biodynamically, which is without the input of synthetic pesticides and herbicides and whatnot. And I understand all farmers cannot, but when you farm biodynamically, you identify your pests, you identify your problems, and you identify the natural solutions to them. And I think that's sort of where we're going. I don't know enough about farming to give you the high elevation approach.
You're right.
But that seems to be where we're going, and this ban on neonics seemed to be an effort in that direction. I know it's hard. I know it's not profitable, but ultimately I think it's healthier for all of us, humans and animals alike.
Okay. Anything else?
Special order of the day?
Yeah, we can do that.
Moved.
Okay, got a second?
Seconded.
I did.
All those in favor, say aye. We're adjourned.
Yeah, I would just.
There's paper. She has all the paperwork. No, it's all the clerk. So she'll sign the orders.
8 a.m. meeting, close the water.
come over and grab it.
Okay, just, Margaret, will make, what time do you want?
Jesus.
I probably get here about 9:15.
We can have it for you. Do you have to be somewhere in the next 5 minutes?
No, I can, if you want to do it now.
Yeah, we basically set it up to do that, so you wouldn't have to.
I'll put it right